My damn soldering gun won't heat the brass up enough, so I gotta use this thing, but I stripped the threads in it. Hopefully the flames are gonna come out the tip and not the bottom.
Welcome to another episode of RC Construction in Canada. Today, working with metal, part 2. Oops, wrong kind of metal.
There we go, that's better. Okay, so I took this scrap, or this jig I made of the thumb, which was this piece here, out of filament. And yeah, so I ended up making this outline on my printer. And then with the scribe, I scribed the line out a bunch of times. And then I took a hacksaw and I cut as much of it off as I possibly could just to keep it so I don't have to do a lot of trimming. And then after that point, then once that was finished, then I took the excess, brought that over to the grinder, ground all that off, got it as close as I possibly could to the point where basically I was just going to have to file it and cut with the hacksaw. So then I just got this little tiny guy here and I just started going in close to the vise and I did each piece individually, ching ching, cut it all the way up. And then as soon as I had that done and I had them both basically kind of cut, I looked at them both and thought, okay, well, they're not exactly perfect to one another. And then all of a sudden I realized, I was like, well, if I put them together in the vise and pinch them, then I could probably get the file out and start evening them up both together. So I've just been kind of paying attention to what I've been doing and just slowly going over it and making sure that the teeth are the same. So I've been filing, you know, this little guy right here is all I'm using. Just going in there and just giving a little this way, a little this way, all the way up the stairs. And then, yeah, and then I did the outside there. I got a burr on there, so I gotta watch out. I'm gonna take this vice grips off here I had, because I had this in the vise before, facing out that way. And I pinched them up on there just to keep everything nice and tight. So as soon as that was done, now I'll take this and I'll flip it on the other side and I'll just go over, make sure everything's kind of even. And then the next thing will be to probably either drill out the hole, or probably drill out the hole next will be what I'm going to do. So I'm going to make sure I got everything looking properly. I'll probably get the excavator and look at it, size it up again, double, triple, quadruple check, because I put a lot of work into this at this stage now to screw up the hole. I know I can't do that, so I really got to stay on it. And then the next thing's going to be to solder it together. So I'll have just a piece of metal, small piece of metal here, and then down on the bottom on the 3D printed piece, which is back that way, I'll have the other piece which I'll solder on, drill some holes into there, and then I am just going to use some of the little L-shaped brackets that I 3D printed, and I'll just use those on the top of the metal piece just to hold it, because it's not really going to affect it too much, and that should be fine. And I've already printed them, so I might as well use them. But yeah, again, same thing, just really trying to cut down on what I can for metal if possible, or sorry, cut down on 3D printing if I can if possible, and try to start using metal more often, because I think it's going to be the way to go. And I think if I start now, by the time I retire in 20 years, maybe I might be actually semi-decent at it, so I'll be able to maybe do some more detailed builds and stuff like that, and get some practice time in on doing stuff with metal. So it's been a lot of fun, way more labor intensive, but not terrible at all, really. I've really enjoyed doing it. I think it's been fun and experience so far, and I'm happy that I decided to do this. So yeah, we'll see what comes on down the road, but it's been good so far, so I'm quite happy with everything. Ta-da! Man, that's looking sweet. I love it. So killer. Awesome. We got the good and the bad and the ugly going in the background. Awesome. Anyways, there's the thumb. It's just mounted now, so I got it on there. I'll have to measure the pieces here. It'll be exactly the same as the 3D printed thing, so should be pretty good. Gonna make 2 rectangular pieces to go in between, lock that together, and then the part that I'm kind of wondering about is, yeah, just soldering it. I think I might have to heat this up a bit more with my other torch, just to kind of get it a bit hotter, because it's kind of thick for, I think, for silver soldering. I'm not sure. I really don't know, because I haven't done it before, so See how it goes, but if all else fails, I'll just end up putting a piece of metal on an angle, bending it, and then drilling 2 holes through, and then fixing it in with a screw on each side. So I could do that as well, but hopefully I can get it to solder, because that's kind of what I want to do. That's what I sort of set out to achieve. So I'm going to try and do that. Okay, managed to get it. Yeah, so saying earlier on, this guy right here, poor soldering tip. They replaced that. Anyways, I figured this was going to be too thick to heat up and try and solder, but I was able to put a bead on the end of this stuff here inside, and try, couldn't get it, and then I just brought out that torch, and I was able to have it just melt like instantly, and then it just held. So I'm really happy I got this thing all soldered up together. It's pretty good. There's a couple little things, but I think all told, for being metal and my first kind of thing other than making a cylinder, I'm pretty happy with it. Give it a little test. Actually, I'll pull back a little bit here so everybody can see it a little better. But oh, my alarm's beeping at me. There we go. All right. So I gotta be careful with this, because I realized something, and that was, well, for starters, if I'm not careful where the bucket is, it will catch on there. I almost could cut a little notch in there just to allow that to kind of go, well, the bucket to be a little bit more forward, because this piece here is fully extended. Now, I've got it on a switch right here, so that switch right there is fully down, and then that's middle, and then that'll be all the way back. It's pretty tricky to get the geometry on this. I could have tried to make this go back further initially when I was printing it, but then it just means that as the bucket curls up more, it leaves more of a gap. It's probably kind of a tricky thing to get. I mean, I'm pretty happy with it. I think it's good enough. But I'm thinking that what I'll probably end up doing is changing out this actuator. That's a L12 100:1 ratio R series 50-stroke Actuonics actuator. It's the three wire one. The issue I kind of have with it is that I didn't really think about it at first, but when I was picking up a rock with the other thing I made, if you don't have it either fully retracted in the middle or all the way down, you're pretty much probably stalling the motor out in there, and so that's putting a lot of strain, and it's just going to kill it. So oddly enough, I was messing around with some actuators. I was trying to make a cylinder out of some broken actuators that I had. It was really tricky to do. I couldn't get them to stay together, so I ended up rebuilding 2 of them, and I just ended up soldering a positive and negative wire to them, and they ended up being the same thing. So those ones are actually nicer because I can move them incrementally less. So I actually didn't really need to buy this one, but it's fine. I'll use it for something else, I'm sure. But I'm probably going to take the R series one off, and then I'm going to put I'll have to, actually I probably also, because I already have an auxiliary channel in here for my rotation attachment for lock blocks, I actually very well might be able to just run this or that other actuator off of this channel here, and then it can be multi-purposed. So I won't need to run another auxiliary, because right now I had to put a BEC into this and set it for 6 volts to be able to handle running this actuator. Maybe that has to do with the end switches and stuff that are inside the ESC in here. It just required more power, so I'll probably be able to take that out. Yeah, swap it out with one that I redid. Won't have limit switches on it, so I'll just have to kind of be careful of where I position it. because then I could cook the motor too, but I already cooked that one that I have inside that I'm going to switch out, so I wouldn't want to break any of them, but I'd rather, you know, wreck one that's already kind of been redone than wreck a brand new one that I paid for that I can fix up. So yeah, all told, it's pretty sweet. I'm pretty happy with it. I certainly need to give a paint job to some of this stuff here and paint up the new one I put on there, and then I'll probably be able to rewire it so I don't have to have this line on this side powering it, and then I can get my BEC out of there again, and then it'll be good to go. So yeah, that's basically it for that. Might as well do one thing. I'll try, see how it goes. There we go. Thumbs up. Awesome. Well, I'm super pumped with that. That's great. Awesome. Well, that was a lot of fun.